log in to Aware Online Testing, you will use your username, which is your student ID, and your date of birth. Your date of birth will be entered as a 2-digit month, 2-digit date, and 4-digit year. Click Sign In. Once you're here, you'll see My Available Test and My Test Scores. My Available Tests are the tests you have not taken. My Test Scores are the ones that you've already submitted. My Available Tests, I'll find the test name that I want. I can click through those to make sure that they're in the order I want to see them in, or I can sort them by subject by clicking on the title subject. So if I'm assigned to take my reading test today, I can click on that reading test. Once I'm there, I'll see my direction page that I want to read through. If I have any directions that continue across the screen, I can use my scroll bar at the bottom to continue reading the directions. Once I've read them, I will click Go to Test. And now I'm here on my test, and I can begin. There are several tools available to all students in Aware Online Testing. The first is the color theme. When I click on Color Theme, it will allow me to choose the colors that work best for me. Once I've decided on which color theme works best for me, I can go ahead and select that to use throughout the test. Another feature in Aware Online Testing is the Zoom tool. It will allow me to zoom in. I can read the passage up close. I can use my scroll bar to scroll down. And I even have one for my questions. Notice that on an RLA test, there's a passage on the left and questions on the right. If I were taking a math test, I would just have my question that I can answer going up and down. For tests like science test, I may need to scroll down if I'm in that Zoom view. If I'm too close in Zoom, of course I can zoom out by clicking on the minus zoom. That's the zoom feature. Another feature for Aware Online Testing tools is you can add a note to the question. So as I'm working through my test, I can click Add Note, and it's going to add a note to this specific question. It may be a note I'm making to myself, or it may be a note I want to save for my teacher to view. Once I've typed, notice that it says Note Saved on question 11. I can scroll through to other questions, and when I come back, my note is still there. Taking a test on Aware Online Testing, you can also flag a question. So if I am working on a question, and maybe I'm not quite sure about it, I maybe don't want to answer it quite yet, I can go ahead and flag that. It'll show me a flag down here on the question number, so I know this is one I want to come back for review. To navigate through the online test, I can use the Previous button to click back, or I can use the Next button to move forward. I can also click on any of the numbers below to jump to the different questions. answer a question, I'll read the question, think through each answer choice, and click the one I think is best. Once I've answered the question, I'll want to come down here to my student confidence rating smiley face and decide, do I think I have it? Am I almost there? Or am I still learning? I want to think about where I am when I'm answering that question so that when I go back to check what I did or how I scored on this, I can decide, is this something I really knew well and felt comfortable with and confident about, or is this something I need to review further? Once I've gone through my different questions, I can go to my question guide and review the work I've done so far. I can see any questions that have been flagged for review, any questions that are still unanswered, and any questions I've currently answered. If I want to review my notes, I can click this toggle on, see which questions I've written notes for, and I can jump to that question by clicking on it and reread my note. If my class period is over or we're done testing for the day, I'm still not finished with my test, I can go ahead and click Exit Test. It's going to save my work and allow me to come back to the test at another time. Once I click back in, it'll take me through my directions again. I'll go back to my test, and it will have saved my work with my notes as well. Once I feel ready to submit my test, I can click Review and Submit. When I'm here, it's going to show me any questions that are answered with that check mark, any questions that were flagged for review with the flag, and any unanswered questions with the bell. If I see an unanswered question, I can go ahead and click on that to jump to the question to see which question I need to answer. Once I feel ready to submit it, again, I can click Review and Submit. I can review any questions with notes by toggling on Show Only Questions with Notes. I can make sure were there any that I needed to go back and do, or was I good with that? Once I've decided, yes, I'm ready to submit, I can click Submit to Score. Are you sure you want to submit your answers? I can click Yes, OK. And now notice that my test is no longer listed in my available test. If my teachers turned on the Show Test Summary right away, it will appear in the My Test Scores. If they have not, maybe the window is set for a different day, then I can come back at a later time to check my test scores to see it there. On RLA test, there are two tools you will not see on other online assessments. The first one is the dictionary tool. Notice that it covers my passage right now. I can click with my little hand and drag it over where I can see the passage. I can highlight the word that I'm not sure about. And when I highlighted it, I can right-click and copy, or Control-C to copy, and then paste it. Once it's there, notice that the word is there, hopped, and it shows me the base word for hop, giving me the definition, and I can listen. Another feature you have online tools for RLA is the highlighter tool. If I've highlighted something and I no longer want it there, I can clear highlighting by clicking on the clear highlighting button in the top left. When I'm using the highlighting tool, I can use it to find things like my text evidence. I can highlight it in the question, and I can match that highlighting color in finding the evidence in my passage. When I highlight that, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the orange to match my evidence from the text. Notice that there are other colors. So if I wanted to continue working through the test, maybe I'm going to use orange for text evidence, and I'm going to use a different color for unknown words or words I want to look up. That is the highlight feature. One tool that is specific to social studies, science, and math online testing is the Scratchpad. The Scratchpad is going to allow you to take notes on top of the online test question. When it pops up, you'll have the choice between no grid, a small grid, and you can make it where you can see it a little better by moving the transparency, medium, or large grid. Again, you can adjust the transparency. Once I decide what I want to use, I have the choice of using different colors and different ways of working on the Scratchpad. So if I choose freehand, perhaps I want to put these in order. Think about what might come next. If I think this is second, and then I think, no, that's not right. I can click undo. Undo is going to clear just the one, or I can click clear if I want to clear it all. I can change the colors as I work. Once I've done the work I need to do, I can move it by taking the hand and moving it over and selecting the answer choice I think is correct. That's using the Scratchpad. I can exit out to get back to testing. For math assessments, grade 8 and up, students will be able to use the calculator feature in the top left by clicking on the calculator and using it as needed. I can click the X to close out. For students on science online test, grade 6 and up, if they need to use a scientific calculator, they can use the scientific calculator online tool at the top left of their assessment. They click on the tool and use it as needed throughout the test. When they're done using it, they can click the X and continue working. Another feature that you'll have on a science or math test, depending on grade level, is a reference. The reference chart can be clicked here on reference, and you can zoom in on the chart or switch to the next page. You can scroll up and down to view the information you need. Ready to be done with the reference chart, just click the X to close out. In 8th grade science, the reference chart can be accessed the same way. Just notice that on page 2, you will need to use the rotate tool. Get it in the view you would like. And then again, you can zoom in, scroll, and zoom out. And click the X when you're done. When the ruler tool has been turned on for online testing, you'll see a ruler on the test. You can click and drag the ruler with the hand to measure the unit you're working with. You can rotate it by clicking on the circle and move it where you need to go. Once you have it the way you need and the measurements that you need, you can move it out of the way to respond. Notice that this looks like a calculator. However, it's not. This is just your text entry keypad. So once you know the measurements, you can click your answer and move to the next question.